First of all, let me say good afternoon to members of the media. As you all know by now, we just finished concluding a meeting with our General Counsel and our shop stewards. We had quite a bit of debate over the controversial surrounding Reverend Tweed's work permit, where the minister made the announcement yesterday that the government, or she had decided as the minister, not to renew his permit. Certainly, we would say that this is a dark day. Yesterday was a dark day in Bermuda's history. When you look at renewal work permits, and we're not talking about a work permit that had to be implemented for the first time, we're talking about a work permit renewal. If this was Bermuda on the road, normally those things are done within a day, probably 2 days at the most. It certainly won't take a week, but this one's taken some 5 months to get sorted out. Now you should ask yourself the question, why has it taken so long? So the General Counsel is very concerned about the situation that the minister, where the government has made the decision not to renew his permit. They've asked me as the president and the General Secretary to arrange a general membership meeting for Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. At that point in time, we'll update the members on the civil situation concerning Reverend Tweed and his work permit. Naturally enough, it still remains very concerning because if you look at the press statement that the minister gave yesterday, and respectfully, I say 4 pages of garbage. That's what it was. That's my description. Because we're not talking about someone who just dropped off a plane or dropped off a boat. We're talking about a son of the soil. His father's a son of the soil. He has family that's a son that ties to Bermuda. So for the minister to say that she's made the decision, and we said this before, so let me just repeat it. The minister should have recused herself a long time ago. Why? She left St. Paul's Church because of Reverend Tweed. This is not something I'm saying, this is something that she said. She said on the House of Assembly floor, I left St. Paul's because of Reverend Tweed. How you leave a church because of a pastor and then make a decision as to whether or not this man comes or goes. How do you do that? It can only happen in Bermuda, Only in Bermuda this happens. But yet the minister and the government wants us to believe that they made a decision because the church violated some kind of policy. I've been a president of the BIU for 10 years now. I've been sitting on the executive board for 30 plus years. I've been sitting on the LAC now for probably 20 plus years. You had so many employers in this country violate policies, immigration policies, and nothing, absolutely nothing has happened to them. This is a personal matter. The government has made it personal because they don't like the way the man speaks, and as a result of that, they see him as a threat to the ABA government, and that's why they want him ostracized like they ostracized his father over 60 years ago. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. On the issue of, because we're going to have a press conference later this afternoon, so let me just put this one out there now. On Friday, Minister Fay, the Minister of Transport, made an announcement, press statement, that the 2 ferries that the Norwegian Cruise Lines is building is going to be given to Bill Evans to operate. Let me say this to the country so that nobody gets anything wrong. We've had 2 meetings with the minister to advise him not to do that. And let me tell you why. People talk about government employees and how they're lazy, they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that, they don't want to do the other. I advise the minister that the government should put $1 billion to run those 2 ferries. So if Mr. Evans is going to put in $1 billion, let's say for $100,000, the government could put $1 billion and say we're running for $75,000. And run those 2 ferries, because right now you're privatizing my members' work. Those 2 boats are going to run from Dockyard to St. George's. That right now is work that's being done by Marina Ports. True, we have the Millennium Ferry in here, but we have 4 Bermudas working on that ferry. And the government is paying for that. And remember now, it was all a farce because that Millennium Ferry was bought here to upgrade our fleet, which hasn't happened. It's a sham. It's been a sham from day one. We have 6 fast ferries right now, and right now I think we've got maybe 2. We could have 3 working, so we've got at least 50% of the fleet. We've got two working. So my understanding is we've got 2/3 of the fleet out of service. And if we got that service up and running, we won't need to have those ferries boarding there. We won't need to have. But for the minister now to say that it's now going to be given to Mr. Bill Evans to operate, starting I think it's either May or June next year, I'm telling you, we're going to have a real problem. Because if one of my members, one of the BRU members, either gets laid off or lose a job because them fairs are doing all work, game on. Game on. So we'll have that conversation on Monday or on Tuesday also when we talk to the general membership about the workers at Marine and Ports and what this so-called outsourcing looks like of that operation come this 2 new fairs. Thank you. Any questions?
Mr. Burbitt, some people say that the matter with Reverend Tweed is not a union member, not a union matter. How do you explain that to the people?
Well, let's just be clear, because we all family. The BRU came out of the AME Church, and for us now to separate ourselves, it's not going to happen. It's simply not going to happen. This is an issue where he is first of all, Kingsley Tweed's son, who is a former General Secretary of the BRU. He has family connections in this island. So this ain't no somebody who gets off the boat from England or gets off the boat from America and don't land in Bermuda for the first time, and then have no family here. Reverend Tweed, to the best of my knowledge, has been coming here for several years now, visiting his family. He has close connections with them. So for somebody now, and because this is how the ABS can spin it, well, he's got a work permit. Yeah, he's got a work permit. You go and check, see how many work permits, renewal work permits have been denied. Very few. Very few. At the upper end, none. I'm telling you that. Unless they caught that person stealing, every work permit at the top end of the echelons of Bermuda, again, if you want to talk about the exempted companies, all of those permits are renewed status quo without hesitation. Next question.
Sir, they've been saying that they haven't, there's specific information they haven't received from Reverend Tweed. Obviously, it's his personal information, but are you able to shed any light on what it is that they say they're not getting?
You know what I think is so grossly unfair? What I think people need to understand is that, you think about it. Let's look at what happened, I think, up until the 19th of, I think it was June, his application was supposed to get on the 18th of June, 19th of June. Now, if you think about it, there was an appeal that went in. All of what happened before then should have been null and void. You're now sitting on and working out how we can work this out going forward. But what happened? The minister, because she got involved from the beginning, now it's like Caesar going to Caesar because she already made a decision that it's not going to get his permit. Now you're renewing to him, you're making an appeal to the minister to give them to reconsider her decision to give him a work permit. I mean, that's like Caesar going to Caesar. The government made up its mind, I can tell you in 2014, that they're not going to renew Reverend Tweed's work permit. I'm telling you that from good source. And if they gave the church the undertaking that they could sit down and have a conversation about a renewal, my understanding, the bishop's coming next week. He can clarify whatever he needs to clarify. I think it's coming next week, Tuesday. But my information is that him and the Premier had an understanding about 3 issues that will be agreed upon. Those 3 issues were agreed on. So why is the work permit not renewed? Why? This is a game. Somebody's playing a game. The OBA warns Reverend Tweed out here before February 3rd. Before they bring the airport deal back on the table. That's what they want him out there for. And let's just be clear, because in September, at Labor Day, I made some comments about Reverend Tweed's work permit. I didn't call his name back then. And Minister Patricia Gordon-Pamplin, of course, came out and she attacked me. She's not going to be threatened or bullied by the president of the BRU. I'm not the one. But let me just say to the minister, you are the one. And I'm coming after you. And let me tell you why. And let me tell you why. Because first of all, for her to say that Dr. Gordon's our father and doing some of the things she's doing, that's not what Dr. Gordon stood for. That man stood for what? Justice, equality, and fairness for people. He didn't leave on a plane to go to London to take a petition on behalf of himself, you know. He took the petition on behalf of the people of this country. And now for his daughter to be sitting as the minister talking about she's done what? She's putting up a fraud. And it's time for it to be stopped. Any further questions?
Yeah, I mean, the letter that was sent to the AME Church that apparently details why they turned it down, is that going to be shared at any point?
Well, you know what? The church and the ministry has been sharing information between each other, right? You have some very competent people in government. You have some very competent people that, you know, they are actually members of St. Paul. You know, so why would they be giving the church bad advice? I don't get that. They got to work for the government, and they go to church every Sunday. So explain to me why they would be giving misinformation out there. Why would they do that? It's just ludicrous. This is a game somebody's playing. And you know what? It's not going to end up well for the ABA, you know. It won't. It won't end well for them. Enough is enough. And as your sister said, tricks are for kids.
Yeah. Yes.
And sometimes for tricky people.
What sort of options do you think the membership will be talking about moving forward?
Well, you know, I never second guess what the membership wants to do. So if it's a call for the membership, and as I tell people all the time, I didn't drop this tree yesterday. I've been sitting there for 10 years. And I will not predict what the membership is going to decide on Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. It's up to them to make that decision.